Batgirl number 9, written by Gail Simone, art by Arjun Siaf. This is a Night of the Owls tie-in, and the person being saved in this issue is ostensibly Jim Gordon. It's a little unclear. So, we open up in Japan, 1944, and I guess the war effort in Japan had a bunch of schoolgirls who, it's all written in the form of a letter by one of these schoolgirls, but basically they're making paper balloons, and these balloons are then attached with bombs, and the bombs are to float the entire way across the Pacific Ocean to mainland USA and then drop and detonate. Which I don't know if this was a real thing or not. It seems a little outlandish, but they do try to play it up if it was actual history. So, yeah, regardless, 2 years later, we're at Haley's Circus in Gotham, and someone from the Court of Owls is coming to pick up a new prospective Talon, and the leader, Haley, points out this young girl who has bandages on her face, and it turns out that she's a great aerialist and she is able to do this, but she was actually one of the few people, in fact one of the only people, as it's later revealed, that was hit by one of these bombs that was made across the seas. So she had her face all messed up and her entire family died. So yeah, the guy immediately, he turns to Haley and he's like, "Did you do this to her?" He's like, "No." And he explains the whole situation. And then the guy turns to the girl and he's like, "Hey, we're going to unbandage your face and you are going to have a new mask, a cooler mask, a Talon mask." And then we cut to modern day where this girl is, of course, turned into a Talon, and she's fighting Batgirl already. Because Batgirl, this is before the call went out from Alfred. She just came across this Talon who just caused an explosion randomly downtown. And so fight scene breaks out, and she is Batgirl, that is completely outmatched. Talon's like knocking her off of buildings and just standing over her looking down, but she doesn't ever actually go for the kill shot. And as Batgirl is struggling to get back to her feet, the Talon leaves behind just a tiny small piece of paper, which Batgirl picks up. We cut to Jim Gordon about half hour later, walking down the street again before the night truly begins, and a guy passing by says, "Oh, I think you dropped something." And as Jim goes down to pick up whatever it is, it's an owl like medallion. The guy tells him, like, "Don't turn around, don't pull out your gun. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go to work, you're going to sit at your desk, and you are not going to turn on the bat signal no matter what happens tonight. If you do, I will kill your daughter. Am I clear?" And then he just walks off, and Jim has no idea who it was, but he keeps on going into work. And as he gets there, he's like, "I'll be in my office. Don't disturb me," because he doesn't want his daughter to be hurt. So 10 minutes later, Bab's arriving at home. She goes, puts an ice pack on her wounds from the Talon attacking her, and then she looks at the piece of paper, and it's some Japanese text that has the date of November 1944, and she's like, "Okay, who's this person that seemingly came from 1940s Japan? That's weird." So then the night starts picking up, different things start happening, Night of the Owl style, and Jim has to just sit there as the detectives come and say more and more crazy things are happening, and he's like, "Yep, get some extra police on that. That would be that's a big deal. Go team." And Bab starts putting it together, and she starts doing some research online, and she finds out about the paper bomb thing, and apparently only one family in Oregon had the actual casualties from it, the girl and her family. And as these things keep coming in and in, Jim finally just like breaks, and he's like, "Okay, fine, somebody give me a cell phone. Everyone, like, not my cell phone, they're clearly tracking that, but give me your cell phone." And he calls up Barbara, trying to warn her, like, "Hey, look, I'm going to be doing something, please stay safe." But as soon as he tries to call Barbara, voice on the other side of the line is the guy who stopped him before. And he's like, "We tried to warn you that this would happen, Commissioner. Shouldn't have crossed us." And as the detectives step outside, the air is just covered in the paper balloon bombs, and they all start detonating. Finally, Alfred puts out the call for the Talons. Barbara understands what's going on as she's back in her Batgirl gear, and she starts making her way down to the GCPD because that's where she sees all the balloons. So, Gordon, in this moment, the other detectives are like, we got to get out of here. And he's like, no, I have to go light that bat signal. And they're like, are you seriously? And he's like, yes, the people, tonight's going to be a long night, and the people need to know there's still someone out there fighting for them. So he makes his way up to the roof as the building is literally just constantly exploding. And as Batgirl arrives, she comes across the Talon again, who's basically just sitting on the roof of the building, just filling up these balloons. So they get into a fight again, and Batgirl's going a little bit more lethal than normal because she knows about the Talon's, like, regenerative stuff, so she's throwing batarangs, like, into the Talon. Talon is throwing a few throwing knives, which take Barbara off her game. And finally, Barbara realized, like, okay, I can't fight to wound. I have to fight to kill, or else she's going to kill me. And she does a kick that knocks the Talon all the way off the roof, like multi-story GCPD, all the way off the roof down to the ground. And as she lands, she hits one of the bombs. It explodes. And then Barbara walks down and she's like, oh my God, you're still alive. Like, how can you still be alive? And you could have killed me. Why didn't you do that back then? And we see that this Talon, underneath her Talon mask, had another mask on of, like, a beautiful looking woman. And we don't know what she looks underneath it. They don't actually show. But we see her right in her blood on the ground, because I guess she can't speak to Batgirl. It says, I have a mask too, I understand. So that's why she didn't kill Barbara. Anyway, Jim finally gets up to the roof. He turns on the bat signal, and he's like, he's still on the phone with these guys, and he's like, I made it up here, you bastards, and I'm going to show everyone that Batman's still out there. And he goes to turn on the light, and they're like, oh, we knew that you would make it up there. That's the whole reason we told you not to go up there, because we knew that you would do it just to spite us. And as he flips it on, it turns into an owl signal, showing the Court of Owls symbol over the city, and he's like, no, damn you, no. And then Batgirl looks up and sees that there, and she's like, has Gotham been taken over? And that's where the issue ends. I don't know why they don't just turn back off the signal. That seems like the easy solution here of, oh, that's not Batman, click. But regardless, this was fine. It was an okay issue. It's weird because this is actually like the earliest placed Night of the Owls issue. Like everything else, everyone had to wait for Alfred's call. This one, like, she already had an entire story before that call went out, and she was already in the middle of things before it got there. So, interesting. I'm wondering what the whole paper bomb thing, though, because, like, she didn't make the paper bombs unless she is the Japanese girl, but then what was the point of the Haley Circus thing? I don't know. It seems a little bit overwritten at times, where we didn't need a whole lot of that. I like the Jim stuff, though. The Jim stuff was interesting, but giving the Talon's backstory of there was a Japanese girl who made a paper balloon. The paper balloon then killed another girl in Oregon. That other girl in Oregon became a Talon, but then was also making the paper balloons. What? Seems a bit complex. So overall, I'm going to give this one a 6.5. I think it's decent. But there's just a whole lot of leaps in logic here that don't really make a lot of sense. But if you can just turn off your brain and enjoy the story, or enjoy the action, it's a good enough story on its own. So 6.5 for this.